This DIY is so easy to accomplish. I'm going to be taking this bell that I found at the Dollar Tree. I thought it was just a little too blingy for my style, so I went ahead and removed all the florals and the tinsel-y type things on top, and I also cut off that little hook that would allow me to hang it up. I just snipped that right off. And now I'm going to take some E6000 and some hot glue, and I glued the handle in place so it wouldn't move. Then I took it outside and I spray painted it a really pretty light gray color. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm just going to simply dry brush all over this bell because I wanted to make sure the poinsettias were coming forward and I wanted it to look frosty as if it had been sitting outside on your door. So now I'm going to wrap a ribbon around it, add a bow, and then I'm going to come back in on the top. I added in a little craft stick and I'm gluing it into place so that I can add a finial on top of it. I thought this looked really cute, and I love the wood contrast with the gray paint and the buffalo check ribbon. Then I added some pine cones, as you can see there in the center of my bow, and I drilled a couple of holes in the bell right at the center bottom because I wanted to be able to make sure that it was gripping onto the bell and onto the sign. So now I'm just adding in some extra glue on the sides to help reinforce it so it doesn't wiggle or fall off over time. And then I'm just going to go and hand paint on the number 25 because I thought this would be so beautiful for Christmas time. This craft, we're going to be taking a large pizza pan from the Dollar Tree, a metal welcome word sign from the Dollar Tree, some boxwood greenery from Hobby Lobby, and then some greenery from the Dollar Tree. And by the way, these red peonies are my favorite that they had come out this season. They are so beautiful. I've been using them very sparingly, and they are going to be used on this, and I always am so reluctant anytime I ever get them out because I just think, oh, I'm going to run out, and they're like my favorite. So here I am with my Crop-A-Dile. You saw me punching some holes. I love the Crop-A-Dile tool just because it goes through metal. And once I had those holes all in place where I needed them to, I took out the metal word and the pizza pan outside and I spray painted them both to make it look nice and high end. And then once I was done with that, I'm going to take some of the garland. I took 2 long strands that would make that curve long enough, and then I zip tied them right to the pan. This is going to make sure that nothing falls off because friends, I don't trust hot glue on metal. It's just always going to come off. I really like things to look high end and not fall apart when you put them out, especially on your front door. So once I've got that on, I ended up gluing in the berries, some of the boxwood. It's really amazing how when you put on these boxwood stems with that garland greenery from the Dollar Tree, how it just really elevates the look of it. I really love combining different greeneries like that. I think it looks so beautiful. Now I'm taking a ribbon and I'm cutting the tails and I'm just gluing those down into place, and then I'm going to add on my bow and glue all that down, fluff it out the way that you want it to look, and then I'm going to take some of those red peonies and I'm going to glue 2 of them down lower and then 1 up higher in around the bow, because we're going to add 1 more bow on top of this tan bow. So once you've got all of those glued into place, I'm going to move on, let all that dry for a second, and move on to the word welcome for the front of our sign or our wreath that we're making. And I'm just going to add in some E6000. That's going to really hold it down, and then that hot glue is going to just keep it in place while it continues to dry. Now I wanted to rough up the edges just a little bit because I did like that it had that metally shiny look coming through that gray spray paint. So now I'm going in with some E6000, and you don't have to do this part if glitter is not your thing, but I thought it looked like frost on the pan. I thought this made it look really cute, and it took it from it looking like a pizza pan to looking more like an intentional home decor piece. So I added on some E6000. I'm adding on lots of glitter just so it makes sure it catches all over, and I'm tapping it down to make sure it's just really worked in there. And then I'm going to shake it all off. And then once that's all drying, I went ahead and got 1 more bow that was a gingham bow to add right in the middle. For this ornament, we are going to actually be doing two with this project. We're going to be taking these clear balls from the Dollar Tree. We're going to put some paint inside of them, and I want you to see how many cool things you can do with them. Once you get the color inside, it makes it look like it's a glass ornament, which I love that. Make sure you shake it around, tap it, put a cloth on top of it so any of the paint, when it's shaking around, it doesn't spill everywhere. Then I'm going to take this cute little circle brush that I picked up from Joann's, and I am just going to put little dots all over. You could also use a Q-tip to do that with. And then for the other ornament, I'm going to make this one look more Kate Spade with these kind of watercolored stripes on them. You don't have to make them super perfect. That's a very Kate Spade look. I think this is so pretty when you do this like this. And so you're just going to take your time going around the ornament in a bunch of circles, coiling all the way down to the end. When you get the last circle, I decided not to do a dot in the middle of that. I just wanted it to be a circle at the very end. Then once it's all dry, you're going to put the lid on, and then we're going to take those lids and we're going to paint them black, and then give everything a nice coat of Mod Podge, and it's ready to be hung up. Now, the Dollar Tree carries this rope, and I love it. When I discover if you untwist it, it thins out the thickness of the rope, and one piece is perfect for the consistency of wrapping around these candy canes that you can also pick up there. So I went over the end and kind of frayed out that rope just a little bit to cover it, put a line of hot glue, and then just started wrapping around your candy cane. Now beware, you're working with hot glue. You're going to actually see me burn my finger in just a second. I put my finger right in it. Duh, Heidi. But I know we all have those moments, so just be careful when you're working with the hot glue. Once you get to the end, you're going to put some hot glue right on the tip of it, and again, work really carefully and cautiously. See how I twist it all the way into a circle, and then I'm going to snip it off, put down some hot glue, make sure it's not too hot, and then press that rope right into place. To decorate this candy cane and to make it look a little more special, I took these berries that were on a floral stem, and I just pulled off what I didn't need so I can get a little bit more coverage for hot glue. I put down a piece of greenery that I got from the Twist greenery ties that they also sell at the Dollar Tree. And then I just glued in the berries, which made it look so adorable. Then to finish the look, I decided to tie on some ribbon, and I just think this looks so pretty. Now this ribbon didn't come from the Dollar Tree, but they have a lot of Christmas ribbon options there. I also decided to add a button for my button collection. Can you tell that I like collecting them? With a little bit of hot glue and a button on it, it completes the look. I am not the originator of this next idea, but I've seen these all over online, and I wanted to make my own version of them because I just think they're so pretty, and I wanted to add it to my tree. So again, all of these supplies came from the Dollar Tree except for the fabric and the boxwood stems that came from a vine. And to get started, you're going to take some twine. You're going to cut off the existing hanging gold ribbon that was on these ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and you're just going to make one with some twine. Now to get your measurement right, you're going to lay your ornament on your fabric. You're going to pull your fabric up to the side so you know how wide it needs to be cut, and then you can kind of eyeball by folding it over, knowing that you're going to need this size. Now this ornament that I picked up from the Dollar Tree is a 5-inch ball, but the fabric that I'm going to be cutting, I'm going to be making it bigger than that. I'm going to be going with a 14-inch wide square. So to hot glue it on, you're going to put one dot at a time, because again, we're working with plastic and hot glue and it dries really quickly. I'm just gluing on these 4 corners first, the flat sides, And then where the points are, the peaks, I'm going to pull them in and just keep working and pleating it in and gluing it into place. Just like this. And you're going to continue it around all four sides, making sure that everything is pulled nice and tight, or nice and taut, as Martha Stewart likes to say. I never say it that way, but anyway, maybe some of you do. So I'm going to pull it in nice and tight, and then once everything is all nice and snug in there and glued down, you are then going to take some more, surprise, surprise, that white beaded garland. And I'm just going to hot glue it down into place first. I put a little dot there. I actually forgot to show that. And then I'm going to just keep twisting it around and pulling it nice and tight down where the little nub is, where you put that twine earlier. It kind of allows it to hold on there nice and tight. And then just hot glue a little bit more, twisting it all into place. And then you're ready to embellish this ornament a little bit more. So here I am again with my boxwood little stem leaves. I just think these are so pretty. I love the way these look for Christmas. And then after I've got two of them on there, I'm going to just twist that down into place, making sure it locks it in really well, because these things, trying to glue them on fabric, do not naturally want to stay. They're just too bulky, and the materials just, I don't know, they don't want to lock into each other. And then I'm going to take some of these little berries that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I didn't show it, I forgot to show that part, but I also twisted that on. And then once those were all hot glued and twisted into place, I took the ends of my beaded garland, and once again, on this ornament, like I did with the other one, I just twisted it up on my finger and then curly cubed it, stretched it out a little bit, and then just shaped it to the way I wanted. And then to finish the look, I added a bow onto the ornament, and voila, it is beautiful. For this DIY, we are going to be using one of these cone trees that have the tinsel all over it and some yarn of your liking. And we are going to just unravel it, take it all off. Now I am going to take this yarn and I'm going to tie a double knot on it first, and then I'm going to just twist that knot underneath so you don't even see it and it's hidden inside. These trees are so easy to make, and you just pick the color yarn that you like the most, and you are just going to twist it and wrap it all the way around it. Now when you get to the bottom, it can get a little tricky, so use some hot glue and just take your time going around the bottom a couple of times until you've covered everything up. Make sure you don't wrap it too tight, because you will find that you will use more yarn that way. It's better to wrap it loosely, so that way it's on there nice, but it's not so tight that it's causing you to use double the yarn. So once you get to the end and you've wrapped it and you don't see anything poking through, go ahead and take that end piece of yarn and pull it underneath and glue it in place. Then up at the top there is already a hole there, so I'm going to just put in one of these shish kebab sticks, and I'm going to just cut it down to size because I decided to put a finial on top of one of them and a star on top of the other. I made a large one and a small one by just cutting it down to a smaller size, and then you'll have a set of these trees to display in your home. This DIY is really easy for anyone who's wanting to try some crafts this Christmas season. Go ahead and take two of these different glass stem candle votives that they have at the Dollar Tree over in their home decor area, two of these glass jars that they also have there for candles, and then two of their candles that they have. Now to make sure that the glass stays on long term, you're going to take some E6000, you're going to create a circular pattern right there, and then you're going to leave some spaces in between to add in the hot glue. That hot glue is going to dry over time, and it's going to allow that E6000 to really seal and bond the glass together. Now I like to kind of roll it around on there to make sure everything was nice and glued down, and then once they were all in place, go ahead and take whatever ribbon it is that you like. You can even add some greenery, some berries to this. I kept it really clean and simple to make it look that high-end Pottery Barn look. And I'm just going to take this really pretty ribbon from the Dollar Tree and add a bow and some tails. Then simply add in your candles and you're ready to display.